Going live. I am live. Hello. We did not have a video ready today, and I need to start doing more content that I can put out quickly. I have piles and piles of gameplay videos, all of which are an absolute beast to edit, and I am running out of time and exhausted. And if you've noticed over the last month, not making enough content. Not making enough content for the channel, for the YouTube algorithm, not making enough content to connect with you all, the community, and continue kind of moving forward and progressing what is Quackalope. If I sound exhausted, it's because it's hot outside right now, and I was upstairs getting the studio space cleaned so that tonight people could come over, we could get all the games that are on the floor over here out of the way, and we can actually sit down and play arcs, because that's the goal. This live stream is just a live stream where I'm hanging out, chatting, and sleeving cards. I'm going to go ahead and get the core game punched, organized, and sleeved. I'm going to get the expansions punched, organized, and sleeved. We will not be playing the expansion until I have at least 4 and hopefully 6 full games of the core box game. That was the universal response from the community. I think that's probably right. Although my instinct would be to pop in and start playing the campaign immediately, because you all know I love campaign games and I'm the most likely to dive into campaign games first. So let's see here. I'm going to respond to your to your all's comments as I go. West is the very first comment here. New messaging mode. West is the very first comment here, and he says, learn those rules so we can play. West should be here a little bit later this week. I think tomorrow, actually. So if West comes down, maybe I'll get 2 or 3 games in with him. I'll get 2 or 3 games in tonight. Maybe we'll do the campaign on camera. I don't know if he's willing to film on camera. I'm not sure with his new career what his limitations are. But yeah, hopefully we'll get a few games of arcs in together, and he can help move me one step closer. You guys want to actually see me sleeving cards? I don't know if you care about that or just fiddling with my fingers. Yeah. So maybe by the time Dennis comes back up, I will be in a position where we're ready to actually sit down and film a bunch of root content, film a bunch of arcs content. I want a full 3-part campaign. I think that'd be fun. I'm going to get into the campaign before I decide whether or not I want to keep or sell the game. I think that's probably where most of my excitement is around, based off of the information that I've seen so far and kind of feedback I've heard from people. But who knows? Then again, we will see. Mark says, what is the brand of sleeves? So my go-to brand of sleeves is Dragon Shield Clear with the matte back, but those are for my Marvel Champions collections. I am actually using the Awaken Realms standard size card protectors that I never put other games into. So like I've got them for ISS Vanguard, I've got them for Tainted Grail. I'd never bothered to sleeve those games, Etherfields as well. And so I actually have cases and cases of Awaken Realms style sleeves that I've never utilized. So I figured I would pop these open, go ahead and get everything in sleeves. I like playing with sleeves more. If there's any shuffling, it helps. Just people holding cards and kind of passing them around the table. And since we're hoping to get multiple plays in this week, usually for a first play, I don't worry about sleeves as much. But we're trying to get quite a few plays in. So Marco Go West says, maybe for the win. Marco says, how's work compatible with the channel for you? Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, due to our financial situation over the course of this last year, I think the channel as a whole, as of filing taxes this last year, lost $250,000. So we let go of all full-time employees. I am now part-time Quackalope, struggling to make content. I have some awesome friends who are coming up and helping and filming, like Dennis and Shira, but I have now taken on a full-time job. So I'm doing home inspections for a real estate management company. want to do these other ways so that I don't accidentally mix them up in the process. I want to keep everything in order until I sit down and read the rules. So I'm doing home inspections for a real estate management company. I've been doing some interior painting. I've been doing photography, which was kind of my old gig before the pandemic happened. And the question is, how is work compatible with the channel? In all reality, it's not. So I'm trying. I'm doing my very best to put in probably 70, 80 hours worth of work a week, and that's with Shabbat, which is the Jewish Saturday, where you go offline for 25 hours. So that takes a big chunk out of how much you can kind of work throughout the week. But I've been trying to do 70 to 80 hours a week. I am, probably behind on editing photos. I am behind on posting content here on Quackalope. Over the last 3 weeks, I think I've put up 3 videos, hence trying to do a little bit more approachable content, stuff that doesn't take 8 to 9 hours to edit. I mean, our gameplay videos take however long it is to learn the game, film the game, set up the studio equipment. I'd probably average maybe 3 to 6 hours for setup and filming. For learning and playing beforehand, that's just going to be a factor of the game. And then when it comes to editing and processing and filming all the B-roll and extra stuff, I mean, you're looking at anywhere from 8 to probably 12, maybe 15 hours for a single high-end gameplay video, like the Kingdom Death gameplay videos that Shira and I were putting out. We still have some of those to edit, and it's just a beast to sit down and do overlays of every card and do the production value that I think makes those videos so watchable. And so I've started trying to reevaluate the way we do content here on the channel so that we can continue having those higher end, higher quality gameplay videos intermixed with a little bit more approachable content. That's why the video that I did yesterday, I know I have to get this game opened. I have to sit down and learn the rules. I have to prepare to play this. So I wanted to put out a piece of content, opening it up, talking about my initial thoughts, kind of prepping that conversation. Now I'm doing a live stream where I'm sleeving it and trying to get everything ready to go. So it's not compatible. We're very close to some big changes just in life in general. So a lot of the finances will be my responsibility here soon. And over the last 2 months, I haven't figured out the balance well enough to have any type of home life balance, have any type of kind of spiritual balance. It's kind of just sit down and work as hard as possible. And even with all of that in context, we're selling off Kingdom Death. We're selling as many board games as we can. We're trying to get to a place where we're stable enough to continue this and continue rebuilding for the next year or 2 years or however long it needs to be. Go West, aka Mayday and Sleeve Kings. Dennis L. Hubbard, I'm down to play 3-part arcs. Dennis, it's very, very possible that we will play a 3-part arcs. I think it'd be a lot of fun. Shut Up and Sit Down said it's good at 2-player, which is very, very compelling. But of course, we have to do as much root as possible next time you're here as well. Luminitic. Europe here. I've been waiting for this game for so long. Does Europe have their copies of arcs in, or is Europe still waiting on delivery? I know a lot of the international locations sometimes are a little bit behind the States, depending on how China kind of mails things out and how the publisher allows things to be distributed around. Joel, how did the channel lose money? Investment versus return? No, the channel lost, well, I mean, kind of, yeah. So back when I was accused of blackmailing a publisher, which categorically, unequivocally, unapologetically did not, has never, and would not ever happen. It was back a little over a year ago now. The BGG and Twitter and kind of board game community saw it as a great opportunity to light someone on fire. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's frustrations based off of how I'd put out videos and, how I'd, work with publishers, and people don't like the marketing side of the board game industry, which I totally get, kind of the Kickstarter, crowdfunding push that has existed in our space for a long time. That's very addictive. But when there's a hornet's nest around you, as there was, around us, a lot of people take a step back, right, from working with you, from clients, from contracts. And so at the time, we had quite a few established relationships and quite a few publishers that we were actively working with. We had a 4-person team, and Quackalope about a year ago this time was a maybe $320,000 business. At least that was our perspective. We'd invested in hiring West. We'd invested that October before. We'd invested in hiring an editor that September before. So we'd only really had a team for maybe 6-7 months. Shira and I were getting married, and the moment the chaos happened, the moment we got set on fire, we also that same week we closed on this brand new studio space. So all the content you've seen coming out, with this location, with the gameplay location over there, filming B-roll upstairs, stuff like that, all of that, we put a pretty big investment down on a space that we owned that we could have and host people. We could have guests come through. We also had a lot of repair work that needed to be done at the house. And so we, got carpets changed out because it'd been a family home for like 56 years and they hadn't done anything like that. We painted. All that happened. And we found ourselves underwater. So Wes started looking for a new job and he ended up finding one, which was great. So after a month or two, he came off our payroll. We kept the editor on, Evan, who has a fantastic YouTube channel, until about October. So we kept trying to hopefully balance out and rebound. So we kept paying, their salary while not making anything ourselves. And then around October, we had to let Evan go. And we, since then, have been trying to figure out the balance of all this. It's left us with quite a bit of debt, left me with quite a bit of work to do to want to be a part of kind of the larger board game community and space. Even though I love games and I love the community that we have, and I'm really proud of the Quackalope channel and everything we've built, it's part of this larger ecosystem, which, sometimes is hard to be a part of. But overall, I think we're doing well. Overall, we have a lot of potential. We have a ton of subscribers. We still get very, very solid views. And honestly, I extended the damage to our channel longer than it needed to go on, because I do things like this, because I talk about it, because I am unable to pretend like everything is okay on camera if things aren't okay. And so I ended up getting an official diagnosis for ADHD, which has been extremely impactful and extremely powerful. Over the last kind of 4 or 5 months, I've been working through the details of that, figuring out how to operate under that banner, work with medication, sleep cycles, all that type of stuff. But yeah, I don't really put on airs. I don't like people who put on airs. I don't like people whose lives are falling apart behind the scenes and they can go on camera and film and talk and laugh and pretend like everything is perfectly fine. I think that if your relationships are crumbling, I think that if your finances are in a bad position, I think that if you're ugly without makeup, your health is terrible, whatever it is, I think that should have an impact on you. I'm not an actor. I'm not, and I've never been pretending to be anything other than exactly who I am. A guy with a fancy camera that likes board games and is trying his very best to make a good, reasonable, sustainable business out of making high quality content that I would want to watch. It's always been the case. So that's probably a longer answer than necessary. For any of you that think I'm tired or anything like that, I am. I'm hot. I'm a little bit worn out. I haven't eaten anything today because the medication works better when I haven't eaten, and I'm currently on Adderall. So if there's no wild kind of sidelong goofiness, it is not me losing passion for the space. I'm really excited to play Arcs tonight. It's just the context. Okay. What other questions do we have? Joel just asked, Marco, wow, it's kind of insane how much work goes into the channel. I imagine it's not easy as board games is a very niche hobby. Hope you get on your feet soon. Yeah, I mean, running a YouTube channel, you'll see this across the board, whether it's a small, in indie space like we have, or one of these large giant tech places, I mean, the amount of competition, the amount of work that goes into production, the amount of flexibility and variability you have, because you're creating content, right? You're filming videos. You have 5 or 6 cameras to set up. You have to learn the game. You have to play it. You have to teach it, and then you edit and post the video. And in our space, sometimes you'll get 1,000 views, which means your CPM, the amount of money you're making from YouTube, is about $4, if that, possibly even less than that. And so, what do you do? Like, how do you justify putting this amount of time into the hobby side of YouTube, of content creation, as opposed to just playing games? Because I like the YouTube channel. I love, filming and creating content. I think I can do a pretty darn good job at it. But if I was just going to play board games, I would just play board games. Filming them adds nothing to my life or to my wife's life. So, we do this because we like it, because we like YouTube, we like the platform, we like the community. It's a very fun job. It's also complicated. Corey says, where is Terraforming Mars? Corey Adler, Terraforming Mars is here. Terraforming Mars is at your house. Terraforming Mars is in your spirit. Crumbus, did you get tarot size sleeves as well? I don't have tarot size sleeves at the moment. I'll have to hunt around to see if I can find some. Do these need sleeves? I mean, let me know. Like, I know I'm sleeving some things that don't need sleeved. I don't think these leader cards need sleeves, other than just maybe protecting them. But Kyle, sounds like you've been doing a lot better mentally. I'm happy for you and your partner. Yeah, man. I think I am overall. I mean, I'm not at risk of resentment like I was maybe 6 months ago. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of the channel. I'm grateful for the community that we have and what we've built over the years. It's heartbreaking to have lost so much, but also the amount of growth and the amount of good stuff that has come from that has been insanely impactful. Like, I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't trade this last year. But hard times also are hard, right? It's been a journey. I really had a hard time before the ADHD diagnosis, because for those of you who don't know what ADHD is a lack of dopamine, a lack of neurotransmitters in a few different areas of the brain. But that lack of dopamine, because your brain needs a certain amount of that reward pleasure molecule in order to operate and live, that lack of dopamine creates dopamine seeking behavior, creates a proclivity for high energy, addictive style things, right? Social media, alcohol, getting in fights, because fights are more entertaining than just having a completely peaceful home environment. Like, there's a lot of things that tie into that. And so for years, the channel was a major source of dopamine, right? Like, growth and filming and content and conversations with people. And then, like, when the drama happened, when we got canceled by the board game industry, all that dopamine zapped away. Like, you don't have any reward for creating content. And I still struggle with that quite a bit. Like, it's hard to sit down and edit something when the next day I might have, 10, 15 comments on it with people being like, hey, how dare you post, clickbait thumbnails, and how dare you talk about a game that you haven't even played yet? I get it. Like, I understand it. I understand the feedback. I also think, because people have that idea of me and they have that label, it's just going to be kind of how people view things from this point on. So I think my mental health is much better. There's still things I'm working on. I'm working on my schedule, working on getting my sleep routine established. I'm still figuring out the balance of medication and exercise, and kind of how all that plays into a role. I still don't have a good balance between working like a full-time day job that doesn't have as much flexibility, that requires a certain amount of put in every week, and then doing things like this, like hosting game nights and stuff. Like, the shift there is really, really hard to navigate. And so I haven't quite figured that out yet. But overall, I'd say we're doing really well. Let's see here. Pascal, hey Jesse, your original take on Israel-Palestine was really disappointing. Any change of heart on how high the death count has gone? Yeah, Pascal, we're probably not going to be on the same side on this based on your quote, based on your response. I think war is terrible on every single side. I think civilian deaths on every single side is horrible. I also, fully support Israel in their right to defend themselves and to secure their homeland. It's just kind of the thing when you have friends and family and people in your community that are serving in the army, when you have people in your community who, every single person in Israel went to a grave after October 7th, like every single one attended a funeral. So yeah, I think it's horrible. I also think all the deaths are entirely Hamas's fault. This war was started, was invested, and has been prolonged by Hamas. So if they want to do the right thing for their people, the war would come to an end. Yeah, Israel should do everything on their part to protect civilians. They should do everything on their part to, bring in aid and make sure that aid gets into the hands of people who need it. That's my take. I think it's sad. I think it's sad across the board. But let's see what else we have. Crumbus, laugh aloud. Why bring the bad vibes, bro? Just enjoy and play board games. Yeah, I understand that take. Like I get that take. Like why bring bad vibes onto a board game channel? I don't know. I'm not an actor. Like that's the thing that I don't know how to communicate to people. Like I'm a hobbyist who's a real person who happens to like, I think I'm pretty decent at speaking on camera, but like I'm a hobbyist who's a real person who also has skill with camera. So we made board game videos because I was a board gamer, because I was a hobbyist, because I fell in love with the space and I wanted to connect to a community. I don't know how to distance real life from the camera. And in many ways, I have no desire to distance real life from the camera. I mean, the reality of most of social media is that it's this fake veneer. I know people in our own industry who like lives are horrible, things are falling apart, houses are filthy, relationships are crumbling. Like I know people who financially are upside down, like that have overinvested time and energy. I have no desire to pretend that life isn't hard and complicated and also at the same time exceptionally worth living. We're very open in our community and we're very open with our friends and with our family and with everyone we meet about mental health, about the journey that I've been on, about the journey my wife has been on. I don't know why I would hide that or pretend as if that's not the case here on the channel. I think it does a disservice to the audience. I think it does a disservice to people who actually go through things. I understand you come to some channels for a distraction, right? To disconnect and disengage with the rest of the world. I get that. Like I totally get that. And we put out a lot of content that is just us having fun, goofing off, having some drinks. And then every now and we put out these content that's talking about life and talking about mental health. And it's kind of how the channel's always been. I don't see that really changing, and I don't think it needs to. Let's see. What else do we have? Dennis has agreed. Let's just focus on board games. This hobby is an escape for many of us. I'm sorry, Dennis. Just immediately disagreeing with him there. But again, when Dennis comes up and plays, like most of the content we put out is just focused on board games. Noosh, you going to Gen Con again this year? We are not doing any conventions this year. Pascal, sorry, my bad. Love the quack still. Appreciate it. Corey, want me to bring some food over? You're welcome to. I mean, yeah, sure. I'll probably be eating by the time we're playing a game. Crumbus, bro, sleeving cards is the ultimate Adderall task. You you're actually not wrong. Like, I could get enjoyment out of sitting and sleeving cards when I'm on medication in a way that I've never found enjoyment off of organizing or doing tasks in the past. If you can tell, like, as we're filming this, I'm happy to sit and talk with you all. I'm also perfectly entertained sitting here punching cardboard and trying to figure out exactly how this all goes together. So it's a weird journey. But I have a question for you all. I am happy to like hang out and continue talking for a bit. Should I open up and sleeve any of the expansion, or is that not necessary? Right? Everyone's told me don't play the expansion until you've played the core game. I have enough sleeves, but I don't know if I'm going to be mixing anything or revealing anything. So I don't want to do that if it's not something to do. So I'll hang out, I'll talk a little bit, and then we'll decide if I'm going to sleeve the expansion or not. By the way, 39 viewers. We were up to 50 viewers at one point. Only 14 thumbs ups. Really offensive. Really offensive. I don't find jokes like that quite as funny when I'm on Adderall, but either way. Let's see here. Magic Man, glad to see you haven't lost yourself or your passion in all this mess. Good on you, man. I've lost myself a few times, and the passion I've lost a few times as well, but it's still here, and I'm still having a good time. I mean, I can tell you this: if you're watching a Quackalope video and you're or a live stream or whatever it is, if you reach out to me through email and hop on the phone with me, I am the same person here in the day-to-day as I am offline. So if I'm having a bad day, it's going to look like I'm having a bad day. If I don't enjoy a game, it's going to look like I don't enjoy a game. If I'm having the best day ever and I'm just enjoying being around friends and family and life is good overall, that's how it's going to look on camera. Not a very good actor. Corey, I have tarot-sized sleeves. Fantastic. Great. Crep says something. I can't read it. Crumbus, I sleeve the tarot size as well, just protecting the investment. That makes sense. Crumbus says Arcs wasn't cheap for sure. Yeah, I don't remember what I backed it. I think a couple hundred or something back in the day. Ministry Productions, do you like a cucumber sandwich? Yeah, like cucumber and mayo, like a little bit of salt and pepper on that. Probably, sure. Rob, but at least in my opinion, Arcs is worth it. Rob, we will find out tonight, and then I will start updating you all as to what my first impressions on Arcs are. And I am sure that will also infuriate the BGG community because I didn't play it 50 times before sitting down and giving them a free review that they don't have to watch. Alex, despite all the drama that this channel has gone through, I find your videos refreshing. Don't worry too much about needing a guest host on videos. Your solo videos are great. Yeah, I don't enjoy filming them as much, though. That's the hard part. Like, solo videos are fantastic. I agree. I enjoy doing them when I do them. The hard part is, like, if you're sitting down and you're like, I could, hear me out, eat a pint of ice cream and watch the new episode of The Boys, or film a solo video, setting up all the cameras and talking for an hour straight to the camera. Yeah, sometimes The Boys win. Sometimes that's just how that works. We're getting back to it, though. I do enjoy playing solo games on camera. What else do we have? Kyle, I still maintain your point was valid. It's not like you said you didn't like it because they did. You just said their glowing review makes you nervous because your taste's different. Yeah, Kyle, I'd love your opinion on this because as a response to the 20 or 30 naysayers, I've had a video I've wanted to do for a very long time on Quackalope, and I'm thinking kind of like, screw it, why not do it? Which is just 10 games, shut up and sit down, was wrong about. Yeah, sounds clickbaity, but it's not, in my opinion. Like when I first entered the hobby, Shut Up and Sit Down was the channel I watched everything for. I didn't start Quackalope until I'd finished every video they'd put out. And I made purchasing decisions based off of Shut Up and Sit Down, which, great, perfect. I bought a lot of games quickly, 20, 30, 40 games quickly. And I discovered over the course of playing those games that our tastes are almost the exact opposite. I don't know if they like lighter games with different types of strategy, or if their game group just enjoys, these style games, but like games like Cosmic Encounter and stuff just have never been games that have worked for me. I get the appeal. I understand the premise. I went to Fantasy Flight Games. I bought every single expansion, edition, everything for Cosmic Encounter. I played it maybe 5 times and I never found that I liked it. Now, if you came over and you were like, I want to play Cosmic, I'd be willing to sit down and play with you. I'd probably have a fine time. But it's not part of my collection. It's not a game I ever should have spent money on. And so the premise of that video, maybe I could have explained it a little bit better. I don't think it would have had any impact. Is that the fact that they tons of people, but Shut 'Em Sit Down specifically, said that this is their best game of the entire year, means that I'm a little bit more concerned about my investment and my purchase. I was already questioning ARCs. I put out a video right when the Kickstarter was live talking about the conflict that I had with the game and what was appealing and what wasn't, and the fact that we were working on, playing the prototype. But I just don't align with their tastes, and I haven't historically aligned with their tastes. Games that they gave really mixed reviews to, Kingdom Death Monster and Root, are games that I absolutely adore. I bought that Worm game based off the review where he dressed up in the little worm outfit and stuff. I forget what it was called, but we got that. We played it. We played it quite a lot. Guess what it was? It was mediocre. It was fine. It just wasn't great. It just wasn't what they seemed to say it was. And I believe their reviews are honest, but they tend to not like big box campaign style games. They tend to skew towards stuff where they can put a hot link to Amazon in their description and send people over to purchase as many copies as possible. I'm cool with that. That's fine. I'm very happy. I spent a lot of money. I also now know that if Shut Up Sit Down puts out a review that they love a title, I want to play it. It doesn't mean that I want to own it. So, yeah. Bill, love the channel. Please keep up the good work. I will do everything in my power, Bill, to keep up the good work. Around with Stump Games. Hey, Jesse. I owe you an email. Sorry. Trying to figure out if I can set up a free way to say yes. Cool. Let me know. Mike, putting your authentic self forward is always the best thing to do. More power to you for it. Thanks, Mike. It's hard in a field where no one does. I mean, the internet and social media is designed for people who don't put their self forward, because selves are messy and complicated and pretty ugly. Rob, I respect your honesty. Truth. Thanks, Rob. Mike, there's something very zen about unboxing a game and then organizing/sleeving everything. There is if you're on Adderall. If you're not on Adderall or you don't have ADHD, or if you're on Adderall or have it or don't have ADHD, I'm sure it's wonderful. I have never understood the premise of that being a nice thing to do, other than a get it done as quick as possible while listening to something thing to do because you have to. Yeah, I mean, I'm historically known for purchasing games and leaving them in shrink for as long as possible until we're ready to actually play it. That's kind of always been my approach. Rob Lemon, you should likely sleeve leaders and lore. Oh, so you think I should sleeve these? I don't have tarot-sized cards, though. I'll have to maybe go hunting around, or Corey might bring some. Ria Games says, say hi to Shira. Shira's at work right now at the hospital. Joker, I need to find some 3D printed ARCs tokens in the long term. Weird component decision given the miniatures. I don't like the miniatures at all. I'm not going to use them. I mean, I don't know about you all, but I don't like the wash on them. I might try to redo them. I think the miniature models are actually pretty nice, but yeah, I've decided that we're going to be playing with the wooden components. That's my approach. Marco, that asking for likes was so direct. Haha, enjoy the thumb. Yeah, Marco, on Adderall, I'm not, I think I'm much more, focused and direct than the scatterbrain. This is a really funny thing. My goal is the second time I've tried to make that joke while on Adderall as opposed to not on Adderall. And the goal was always historically to get the thumbs higher than the views so that I could sit there and tell people we've got 42 people watching and only 87 thumbs up. Guys, you must hate me. I don't understand it. Even that just comes off, I don't know, it comes off really direct. The joke, I don't think it works on Adderall. I don't think the same quirky twist and turn in logic is as funny. Joel, does this game have minis? It has meeple-like components, like these guys, and it has miniatures like this. So you have to kind of decide what you want to use. So ships, meeples, stuff like that. It's not minis though, per se. Reha Games, you should watch The 3-Body Problem. I have the book on my wish list. Is the show as good as the book? Max, I admit I pre-ordered ARCs because of SUSD's review, but in my defense, I do love Leader Games and own several, but I realize I'm taking a risk because the games can be a hit or miss with me. Yeah, Max, I think a ton of people off of that review went ahead and ordered the game. And that's fantastic. If you've aligned with Shut Up and Sit Down's tastes consistently, then it might be the perfect game. But if, like me, you don't align with their tastes and you historically have purchased games in an attempt to align with their tastes and it hasn't worked, it adds a big caveat or a big risk factor. Kyle, I do like SUSD, but people swear by their opinions a bit too much. They're some of the, funniest, most entertaining content in the entire space. Like, I entered the YouTube hobby space by watching their videos, so of course they do. I think their stuff's awesome. It's not a matter of discrediting their opinions or not thinking the content they put out is fantastic. It's just a matter of my tastes don't align. Mike, it's totally valid not to value their opinion. Doesn't need an explanation. That review is connected to this game in a big way at the moment. The reference fit. Yeah, I would think so. They declared it the very best game of 2024. I don't think talking about them seems out of left field. Whatever. Alex, Joker redacted a message. Alex, did you ever play the game Lost Empires? My LGS had a sealed copy, but I'm finding it near impossible to find videos on it. Once it was sent to backers, only 1 or 2 initial preview videos. I think I have. Let me look that up real quick. Lost Empires. Empires board game. That's the one. You mean by Colossal? I'm thinking the wrong thing. Lost Empires of Ash. Lost Empires War for the New Sun. No, I think it's the one that has the political hierarchy, right? Lost Empires. I'm not seeing it immediately. I mean, confirm for me if my brain just jumped to the wrong name. I'm not seeing it, so I don't know. I can't answer. Marco, I get the opinion. I get that opinions on games differ, but specifically making a video on things you disagree with them seems creating a video focusing only on negative things, which I wouldn't watch, to be honest. I totally understand that, Marco. I mean, like I said, I've had the idea of making that video for 2 years now, right? I haven't done it because I don't want to pick a fight with Shut Up and Sit Down. And there's an interesting YouTube tactic that I haven't employed. I mean, we employed it back when Boardgame Co. and I were collaborating together, but this idea of collaborative conflict, right? Where a content creator at the time has more than another content creator and you start battling to get somewhere. Like Ryan Lockett. No, not Ryan Lockett. The famous Ryan guy on YouTube that crosses the country with a penny. He wanted to make Dr. Phil his dad, I think. It wasn't that the objective, or Mr. Beast, who is fighting to keep PewDiePie alive and with subscribers. There's a common thing, a motivating force of battling with and engaging in debate with people. And the board game content creator space overall has never been a very collaborative, helping space, which I've always found really interesting. I mean, I think, not this last year, of course, but over the first 4 years of Quackalope in existence, we didn't have a single publisher or a single content creator larger than us reach a hand down and want to help, want to support, want to, encourage us in the content that we were doing. We didn't have a single one. And yet at the same time, we featured, collaborated with, and, pushed probably more small channels than almost any other channel in the space. It was one of the things that I was really proud of and one of the things that we were known for, focusing on indie games and focusing on small content creators. Literally, we had an open door policy. We still do in some ways. This space and the guest rooms that we hope to have here and everything was purchased with the idea of actually paying content creators with 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 subscribers, covering their flight, paying them to come visit us for a few days, filming piles of content with them, and then collaborating and helping them grow their content. So getting into a fight with Shut Up and Sit Down theoretically is a good idea, except for how insular and crabs in a bucket like our industry can be. So there's a good chance that I post a video talking about 10 games that Shut Up and Sit Down was wrong about, and the space sees it as clickbait garbage, and I get 100,000 views and lose more opinions. The people who I don't want to lose the opinions of are people like you, Mark, who's hanging out, talking, asking questions, engaged. I'm trying to be mindful and careful of the content we put out so that the audience that we have and the community that we have feels engaged with and feels encouraged and is enjoying and entertained by and informed by the content here on the channel. That's what I'm aiming for. So Unless I have 72 other people telling me I should put that video out, I will subdue my angst and not do that. But I would like to. I think it's a good idea. Nick, curious if ARCS is an easier teach than Root. Always been a leader fan, but their games have been tough to teach. I mean, Root is hard to teach specifically because it's so asymmetric, right? And hard to learn and hard to balance because of that. ARCS has some asymmetry, but it's all built in the same core system. It's similar to Oath in some ways. And I would say Oath was an easier teach than Root. So I think ARCS probably will be as well. Crash, to be fair, Shut Up Sit Down has some controversy regarding blood on the clock tower. The same sentiment permeates all their reviews. They value social interactions created by games more than the game mechanics. Yeah, I remember the controversy around blood on the clock tower. That was a wild pocket of controversy. Just have to realize that when watching their videos. Yeah, they like social interaction. They like the game state around the table more than the board game specifically facilitating that game state. Rob, a pro for the wood pieces is that you often need to tip them on their side when damaged, which works quite well with the wood pieces. Okay, nice. Max, you're right. An overlooked aspect of board game influencers is the widely different tastes in games. My number one game isn't even on BGG's top 100. What is your number one game, Max? Dennis, what is your number one game, Max? Good question. I mean, we both apparently have the same question. Rob, it is somewhat easier to teach than Root because when you start teaching a game without leaders, it has no asymmetry. It's like teaching one faction. Alex, it's the only one you thought of initially. Lost Empire's War for the New Sun, card-based area control game. Just hoping you had an opinion / video on it. I don't think I've ever played it. I'm not sure. Jim, I feel you on being worried when reviewers like something. If Sam Healy really liked something, I would have the same mild panic. I don't hate the games he liked, but clearly had differing tastes. Rob, also, Nick Weirner, you can roll out the teach as you play. The game can also be 20 to 30 minutes, so it's a lot faster than the game of Root. Really? The game can be 20 to 30 minutes? That's kind of wild. Magic Man, I feel like ARCS is an easier teach than Root, mainly because Root requires you to play several games to understand each faction. Yeah, exactly. Don, I know ARCS and I want to play. I find this live chat boisterous and offensive and makes me cry. Boisterous and I don't know what you're saying, Don. Noodlemans, hey, wanted to apologize one more time, Quack. Man, I'm not hurt or offended. I'm sorry if sometimes I respond angsty as well. No, I get it, man. I totally get it. Also on my end, I don't really like the drama online. So my goal is not to do weird clickbait titles that get a lot of people engaged. My goal is to do videos that are useful and titles that are engaging and accurate and get people to click on them. For those of you who don't have context, Noodleman left a comment on a video that wasn't overwhelmingly pleasant, and I responded kind of snarky, and then he manned up and said he was sorry and he still enjoyed the content. And actually, I really appreciate it. He's probably a better guy than I am most of the time. So, and then he popped back on here to do the same thing. So, wild and good on you, and also totally not necessary. Max, Western Legends, don't laugh. No comment. Dennis, I'm not familiar with Western Legends, but I'm going to look it up just in case you're my game taste twin. Western Legends is a really cool game. Max, if you brought Western Legends here to Cleveland, Ohio, I would be happy, thrilled to play it with you. And also, it's not one that I'm getting to the table ever on my own. Alex, do you have any content coming for Andromeda's Edge leading up to the release? Perhaps an early copy? No. Nope, I don't. I have not heard from that publisher at all since the drama about a year ago. So I don't even know if I'm getting a copy. I would honestly, unless we're already in the pledge manager, be surprised if I was. Justin Vamp, ARCS is so good. It's all I've thought about since playing for the first time. Great. I'm excited to play. We're going to be playing in about 2 hours. So if anyone's close to Cleveland, Ohio, let me know. Send me a text. Send me an email. Come play ARCS with us. When is Root gameplay coming out? We will be filming some Root gameplay hopefully in the next month, and then we should have some Root gameplay after that. I'm behind on editing. We have 10 episodes of Crimson Scales filmed, Gloomhaven. We have 4 episodes, maybe 3 or 4 episodes of Final Girl filmed. We have a pile of Kingdom Death filmed. We have 2 episodes of 3-player Terraforming Mars filmed. Like, behind the scenes, I am working hard, and you all are seeing none of it because editing is a bottleneck that only I can unstomp, and yeah, it's a mess. Max, I get it. Just with my group, we have so much fun every time with Western Legends. It's about the experience for me. Yeah, I would probably have a blast with you. Would absolutely probably have one of the best times with you. I would hijack a train. I would steal gold. I would murder your cows. Um, Giant sandbox games. You kidding me? They're fantastic. They're also a lot, and you got to have the right group. Al, did you already do the drawing for the people who backed Rope? I did do the number drawing. I haven't done the go through and count up to the number 300 on Kickstarter yet. I will have a video out this week. I'm committing to that. I'm thinking probably Thursday, where I'm going to be doing another additional giveaway as a way to make sure the people that saw that first giveaway see this giveaway. And there I will also officially announce the names. And then I'm also hoping to do a little behind the scenes vlog of packing everything up, getting shipping addresses, getting labels, and sending everything on the way. I'm trying to do maybe some little bite-sized vlogs to go on the channel. And that'll just show and confirm that we are mailing out, what we said we were mailing out, and mailing it out to who we said we were mailing it out to. Jim, it sounds like Sea of Legends, but cowboys instead of pirates. And it has a working, non-necessary, it has no digital app. That's what I was trying to say. Heezy, miss you and Shira. Good to see you. Heezy, thanks for being here. We're around. We're doing our very best. Shira's been a absolute powerhouse. She's been working, long hours at the NICU, and hopefully she'll be back on the channel soon. Noodlemans can be a game of the year with an underwhelming table presence, or does gameplay trump all? Yeah, so Noodlemans, I think gameplay trumps all, in my opinion. I mean, you think about like my number one game of all time, which still, well, not of all time. My number one game, according to my top 10 list, Kingdom Death would be my all-time 0 game because it's so nostalgic. There's no way anyone could compete with it. Bus is not a fancy, beautiful table presence first game. I think it's elegant. I think it's sexy, but it's not the style of the game that is the thing that makes me love it. It is how remarkably just beautiful that gameplay is. So I don't need a game to be pretty. I love sleeved cards and metal components and wooden components. Components can definitely take away from how much I enjoy a game. If they get in the way or if they're very satisfying, it enhances or decreases. But that's like the last percentage point. That's not the thing that factors into whether or not it's a game of the year. Easy. Got my Fate Forge all in, and it's such a great box that it hits all of the expansion content too. Can't wait to try it out. I remember your coverage, and it looks good. Hope you got a copy. We search Fate Forge. Fate Forge. I struggle with names a lot, so you all are aware of that. Fate Forge by Mighty Boards. I don't know. I don't know that I have a copy of this yet. I remember this. I remember the game. I remember having a good time with it. I don't think I have a copy. I'm not sure if it's because I'm not being sent a copy, or if it's just, sometimes people don't put you in the pledge manager and you don't get into the cycle. Al Hernandez, did you finally get that house painted? I did get the house painted, and I did a really nice job. Yeah, it took a long time though. We put 116 hours into painting, and I did quality work. I'm proud of myself. Marco, have you played Monopoly yet? Not recently. Heard it's very popular. I'll take your word for it. Connor, did you back the Ahoy expansions? Not only did I not back the Ahoy expansions, I haven't backed anything but a single game all year, that game being Rove, and I will not be backing anything but a single game all year because we're desperately trying to climb our way out of credit card debt. We're actually probably taking out a home loan in order to on our own personal family home in order to hopefully pay off some of the debt that we have. Dennis, what is your guilty pleasure game? The one that the overall community would side eye you for liking? Duck Dealer. Duck Dealer by Splotter Games has to be my guilty pleasure game because it almost ruined and sent that company out of business. And I think it's so cool. I think it's beautiful. Also, ducks, but that's not the reason. It's also not a pretty game, in case Noodlemans was wondering. Jim, table presence is a cool aspect, but that's just it, an aspect of the game, 100%. It's the last thing. It's the last factor. Noodlemans, did you hear HeroScape is coming back? That's my number one. Come hang out and play it with me. I have never played HeroScape. I would love to, but never done it. Around the Stump Games is player manipulation, either persuading people to make certain decisions, a fun game mechanism to you. It's player manipulation. I like some games with player manipulation in it. I would not be classified as a negative game mechanic for me. I think it's very situational though, right? Like if you're playing with the right group, it's fantastic. You're playing Chinatown with the right group. You're playing Twilight Imperium with the right group. Awesome. That little over the table environment, some of my favorite games. That being said, it can also really take away from the game if people aren't engaged in it or you don't know the culture that you're playing in. Marco says, have a good night. I think that means that I need to clock out and start reading this rulebook. We've got about an hour and 40 minutes before the game group shows up here in Cleveland, Ohio. So I think I'm going to do just that. I'm going to go ahead and log off and call it a night. I'm hopefully going to live stream a little bit more. I'm hopefully going to have more content coming out for you all. I'll hopefully get into a lot less drama, but still get great views on YouTube. That's kind of the aim. That's the goal, so that our channel can survive. Are there ARC sleeves or are you doing third-party ones? Man, there are not ARC sleeves as far as I know. I'm doing Awaken Realms sleeves. Dennis says, have a great night. I'll be there the last week of July. Fantastic. Jim says, happy a blast. Thanks for hosting this chat. Glad to have the chat. And tomorrow, I'll probably have a video talking about my first few gameplays of ARCs. Hopefully we'll get maybe 2 in. And then tomorrow I'll have a video talking about my first impressions, what I think, maybe a strategy guide, because by a gameplay or 2, I'm going to be an expert on it. Magic Man, have a great night. Looking forward to the first impressions. Cool. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later. Thanks so much for joining. Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me be a part of your community. And remember, we've only got 20. We've got 20. I should not do this joke on Adderall. We've got 26 viewers and only 31 thumbs up. It's not even funny to me. 26 viewers and 32 thumbs up. Is it funny that it's not funny? Is it entertaining that I can't wrap my head around why I found it so entertaining before? I'm not sure. All right. Whatever the case, whatever you do, remember to do the important thing. Play some games. We'll see you later. Bye. Clock out. No, stop. It's not. Why is it not? Oh, I was hitting the live button. End stream's down here. Good. All right. Well, great opportunity for a hot mic moment, which I also things that I find hilarious, the idea of them. But okay, now we're going to try again. We're going to do it again.